The technology works. That's a good start. Good morning, everyone. This has been an epic challenge. And so we went really looking for how we would approach such an epic challenge. We actually drew inspiration from this country itself. We were constantly inspired by the father of this nation, putting people at the heart, at the center of innovation throughout history. That was really inspiring to us, and we thought, let's do the same. So we took a human-centered design approach. We also looked at reports and stats, of course, but we went out and we met with people. I'm, as you can probably tell, not from here. I had a lot to learn, and I learned a lot, and it was very enjoyable. I have great respect for the people that we met, because we met people who were bus drivers, we met astronauts, we met sheikhs, princesses, we met youth and ministers, we met people in policy. It was fantastic. But what we found is there was one thing that was palpable, and it was this sense of hope. Absolutely palpable. Inspiring, maybe could be more directed. So if you want to build the best nation in the world by 2070, there's many ways to look at that and measure that. And we would suggest one way to do that would be to see who stays. Can you build and can you retain talent that want to innovate here? So looking again at the father of this nation, can we build a great vision that's not so far in the future, so crazy that we can't relate to it, but that gives us something we can see ourselves in? That can be the challenge, and I think that's what needs to be done. So back in 2008, we started this journey. It's been a very long 14-year journey, and we looked at the challenges, right? We thought, what's facing the world today? What are the mega trends we need to prepare for? Well, there's lots of growth. That's fantastic. But from the people we talked to, they said, well, the growth is horizontal, it's linear, and it's unfortunately unsustainable. So what is it? What would move you to actually change, to reach beyond where we are today? And so this idea of verticality started coming up to us. What if, instead of flatness, what if we could look up? What if we could imagine a society fully contained, food security, water security, the ability for social progress, the ability for access to education and healthcare whenever you need it, however you need it, right? Absolutely impossible, but no, it's imaginable. So what we did in 2008 was we set the groundwork for something absolutely crazy, and I know you're gonna have this reaction when I show you the next slide, but we created, in the last 14 years, something magical called NorCity. NorCity, which is cut off in this slide, unfortunately, NorCity is the first of its kind, a vertical city floating in the sky. Now I know, crazy, right? Of course, sure. But in 2017, this very conference said, hey, let's put colonies on Mars in 2058, so maybe it's not so crazy. And when the railroads were built through the Alps, well, the tracks were laid before the actual train could make the journey. So we started. But what did we find from this, right? It's really amazing. Just by striving, we found that the government improved. Suddenly, we had diplomatic relations in ways we never had before, taking a more international space station approach. We found that happiness increased. With that sense of purpose that we found in that first 47 years, that purpose now united a people, greater well-being. The economy needed diversification back in 2018, right? We needed these 14 years of saying, we are a service economy, but what if we could be the economy that imagines the future, and then builds it, and then sells it? So diversification was important, and we turned to women especially, engineers at companies like Strata, to really envision that goal. But in education, I think we really, really hit something wonderful. And that's because instead of focusing just on what can I learn today, what is my job gonna be, we focused on how can we think. We took cities such as Masdar, we took cities such as sustainable zones that we have in Abu Dhabi and Dubai today, and we used them as playgrounds. Playgrounds for education that allowed experiential learning, that focused on systems thinking, on critical thinking, because the future is completely impossible to understand. It's ambiguous, and it's uncertain, and we need different thinking. And we're very close to having a full generation that can do that. So, what are we gonna do next? We have 40 more years. Well, we do have this amazing, amazing city in the sky. That's a pretty big feat, I'd say, in 14 years. Now, it's ready for society. What does that look like? What does it look like? We've never been able to build worlds like this before. But now we can, and it's our time now to think about how society and technology play together. Obviously, to build this, it was AI, it was machine learning, it was cryptocurrencies, some things I'm sure you've heard in other presentations. Of course, those are the future. But what does it mean to live a good life? What does it mean to live meaningfully and die with dignity and raise our children so that they're proud of all of us? What does that look like? And how does technology, play a role? That's the questions now. And so we give you one, bit of idea that, how we get there. Well, there's an idea called the donut paradigm coming out of Oxford, and it allows us to look at essentially the constraints, because there will be constraints in these, floating cities. And it looks at human flourishing, and it says, how can we live and thrive in the middle? So we hope you take that to heart as you move forward. But as we close, we hope to show that the last 14 years have really been about teaching people to strive. And now it's about teaching people to thrive. That's really tough, but if we all work together, we really believe that the future is looking up. Thank you.